Hello guys, welcome back. Hopefully I changed the mic. Hopefully you won't all shut up about it. every freaking video will just tell me about the audio. So here we go, there you go. I have another mic. Hopefully this is a little better. And you will stop complaining about it, alright? So here we go. I got another video for you guys. This time around it's about Nullsec. It's gonna be a little bit different type of video. Let me just check something real quick, okay? Alright guys, so there was a big battle in Nullsec, so I'm not talking too much about Nullsec unless it's like a big battle. And I'm just gonna give you my thoughts on... first I'm just gonna, present the battlefield on how it was. And then I'm just gonna give you like my thoughts on how probably the sides could have just made sorry guys, a little bit more exciting. So yeah, let's go into it. We got Nullsec, and what can I tell you about Nullsec, man, guys? It's the untamed frontier of the New Eden, yeah. Where player-run empires clash and fortunes and are burned in the fires of server-breaking wars. Okay, so we're gonna look at one of the battle reports that kind of defies logic. All right, a conflict. It was massive, like so massive it stretched like across almost an entire day. Pulling tens of thousands of pilots into a time-dilated nightmare. Yeah, so welcome to the meat grinder of the Vale of the Silent, guys. Let me show you where is that. Specifically, let me just... It was it was more in like the whole region, but Reddit mentions this system for HWWF, so I guess this is where a lot of action took place, but it definitely, the battle took all over the Veil of Silence. So yeah, it was massive. It stretched like almost like an entire day and just pulled thousands of pilots into dilated nightmare. So yeah, over the course of like a grueling 23 hours, the sky across multiple systems ignited, and when the dust finally settled, 15,516 kilometers were generated, and a staggering 1.44 trillion ISK was turned into space dust. So we're gonna break down the sheer scale of this Nullsec bloodbath. On one corner we have, we'll call it Team A, led by none other than Fraternity, alongside with the Northern Coalition and Test Alliance, and there were a couple of more alliances that were with them, and that they brought like over 5,700 pilots to the field. And their strategy was simple but brutal and unfathomably expensive. The super capital wall. And yeah, Team A didn't just bring Dreadnoughts, they brought like the epic predators of the New Eden. We're talking about grids choked with like avatars or leviathans, or with Erebus. And they even have like field like immensely rare faction titans like Komodo or Vanquisher. So that was also very impressive, and they formed like a ironclad anvil, daring anyone to step into their optimal range. And stepping into the range was definitely Team B, the Imperium, led by none other than Gunsarms. Um, Initiative was also there, Dracarios, and they didn't just they didn't counter with their own super capitals. Instead, they just answered with like a swarm of apocalyptus proportion. Over 8,200 pilots formed up, deploying an endless, terrifying wave of Black Ops ships. That was. Let me see where I have it. Redeemers. They brought like Redeemers. They brought Scenes, Widows, Panthers, and backed by Raven Navy issues. This is where the true scale of horror revealed. For like 23 hours. The Imperium threw bodies at the Titan wall. I mean, if we look at the disparity, Team A lost like 3,000 ships. Team B, they fed over 12,500 ships into the grinder, nearly a full day of continuously reshipping, bridged back in and die chipped away at the defenders in a war of an absolute attrition. Who won? I mean, it was purely. I mean, I think it was 50-50. I think Reddit said that it's likely that Fraternity won that one, but looking at the battle reports, it looked like it's 50-50 in terms of ISK efficiency. They lost. I mean, there's a couple of battlefields about that, and you can look at different ones. Some say they won in terms of ISK, some say they lost. But I took one of the most popular one, and that one is saying that they lost 708 billion ISK, and the Imperium's 735 billion. But yeah, Nullsec definitely ISK is not the only, it's half of the story. The fact that Imperium was willing to burn like 12,000 battleships and sub-capital to contest a 23 hours objective shows definitely an unprecedented level of logistics and sheer willpower and weaponized boredom. This wasn't just a battle, it was a testament to the staggering, terrifying scale of the evil line. I don't know, what do you guys think about the Doctor matchup? Were the sub-capital fed word of the objective, or did the super cap wall prove its dominance? Let me know what you guys think about it. I'm also just gonna talk a little bit more in depth on how I see that either side could have just countered the other, or they could have just improved their fleet a little better. This is where I'm just gonna get a little bit nerdy. Maybe this info is not that important for like players from outside. I'm talking this to more like strategists and fleet commanders, and how could they just probably improve a little bit, and what they would have asked to bring to the battle. I'm gonna talk first on how I would have countered the Imperium's swarm, and then I will talk about the Northern Coalition or the Fraternity. How could have just countered their Titans. I mean, countering the Imperium swarm, Imperium Doctrine and this battle was built like an attrition, mobility, and high alpha projections, and relying on Black Ops ships like like we mentioned, Redeemer, the Sins, the Widows, and heavy missile platforms like the Raven Navy issue. Like I mentioned, they wanted to just drop in via a Sinosol field and unleash like massive waves of cruise missiles and either jump out or the ship instantly when destroyed. And to counter a sub-capital swarm of that sheer size, like over 12,000 ships lost, implies constant reshippings, and you can't just simply rely on a single target capital gun. You have to employ crowd control, area like AoE distraction, and I am gonna give you a couple of what I think how would have it could have break the Imperium's doctrine a little better. Obviously, they use a little bit the Bosonic field generator, and that is the Titan AoE Doomsday. And Team A had definitely the right idea, and they brought Titans. But to maximize efficiency against the battleship blobs, you need to use, yeah, you have to use the Bosonic field generator. Maybe in combination with like bubbles, I would add. And I mean, to tell you in short, this Bosonic acts like a giant canonical shotgun blast in space. Probably might have seen videos about Titans doing that on the internet. So I mean, if you use like an interdictor to just bubble the Imperium fleet as they warp in or land on a Sino, a coordinated line of Titans firing Boston will instantly vaporize dozens of battleships in a single server tick. Also, another strategy is to Smartbomb the Smartbomb firewall, because Raven Navy should rely heavily on cruise missiles, and missiles in Neverland have physical objectives traveling through space, which means that they can be destroyed before they even hit the target or avoid it. And a highly effective counter would have been probably like a firewall fleet, a dedicated squad with heavy tank ships like Macariel or like Proteus equipped with smart bombs. In position this squad between like the Raven Aviation Swarm and your super capitals. The smart bomb would just detonate the incoming missiles wave mid-flight, and would have just completely neutralized the Imperium's damage output. Another way that I could probably see is like, I wish I would have seen this in this battle report, is maybe like a coordinated stealth bomber runs, like battleships that have because we know that battleships have, you know, a huge signature radius, and they're just making them be a perfect target for bombs. And a massive tightly packed ball of Raven issues and Black Ops ships, it's definitely just a target for wings of stealth bomber like you know, the classic Manticore, Nemesis, or Purifiers. Yeah, and I mean, the tactic would have been simple, you know, warp and clock the squadron of like, let's just say 30 to 50 bombers, and at the specific angle unclock, launch bomber module simultaneously, and just warp off. And the cascade of AoE damage will erase, you know, chunks of battleships, fleets at once, you know, and costing attackers almost nothing in ISK. Also, they could have also used like the high angle weapons, like Dreadnoughts, like the standard anti-capital weapons on Titans and Dreads that, you know, that track too slow to effectively hit subcapitals, and dropping a wing of high angle weapon Dreadnoughts. You know, Dread fits with the cruiser battleship size, you know, rapid fire weapons. You know, it definitely changes the map. The high angle weapon Dreads, you know, track incredibly well, and output monstrous DPS, turning into specialized mid grinders, you know, and designed specifically to chew through their subcapital swarms faster than they can catch up reps on their logistics ship. Yeah, and also maybe just use the, you know, extreme bubble control and MJW Scramming, because you know that Black Ops fleets love to use micro jump drives to just teleport 100 kilometers away when things get hot, and just allowing them to reposition or escape. And I mean, to counter would have been easily, you know, to use relentless heavy interdictors in interdictor control. Spamming bubbles completely shuts down their ability to warp or micro jump drive. And once they're pinned down, they can't dictate the range. They become sitting ducks for you know, your heavy DPS. And you know, I would say that, you know, if Fraternity or you know, Team A use the super capital to out-tank the Imperium, which kind of worked, but it did result in a 23-hour slog. and you know, layering a couple of just bomber wings, Smartbomb firewalls, or aggressive boson traps would have just turned slow battle of nutrition to a rapid slaughterhouse, you know, forcing the attackers to stand down much faster. I'm gonna give you my perspective for what we could have Gunstorms done a little bit, and I think, you know, countering their massive fleet of Titans, Super Titans. I mean, it's not an easy task. It's definitely, you know, to crack like the Super Capital Wall. It's one of the most terrifying, server straining and expensive maneuver in even line. You cannot just fight a Titan wall with the standard battleships. You simply need to get. You will just get simply bossed out of the existence, and to break the entrench Super Capital Fleet, you need to just hit their logistics, you know, their mobility and their capacitors. And the premier doctrines out of and tactics to, you know, to kill those gods in New Eden would have been, I have a couple of here noted. The Dread Bomb, the Hammer. This is the classic. Everybody probably know if you're doing Nullsec. You know, the blunt force of the counter to a Titan fleet. The Dreadnoughts like Revelation or Naglar are definitely the cheapest capital ships, but when they activate their siege mode, their DPS skyrockets to like absurd levels. And yeah, I mean, the tactic would have been just you don't drive out, you don't try to out-survive the Titans. You know, you trade with them, you drop like a 200 Dreadnoughts directly at zero range onto the Titan fleet, hit siege, and primary a single Titan. And a standard Titan, you know, costs roughly 150 to 200 billion ISK, you know, and a fully fitted Dreadnought costs like around 4 to 6 million. So if you drop like 100 dreads, you lose 50 of them, maybe like around maybe 250 billion ISK. And but if you kill 3 Titans, you get like 600 billion ISK destroyed, and you definitely win the war, the ISK war. Another strategy they could have, probably Gunstorm could have, or the Imperium could have used, is the mass tackle. Also may, you know, as waterboarding or the hell bubbling, and because, you know, the Titan primary defense when things go wrong is to just jump out or tether, and to kill them you have to hold them down. And relentless suicidal wave of interdictors and heavy interdictions, you know, dictators, you know, drop warp disruption probes that blank the grid. The goal isn't to do just damage, it's just to create an inescapable net, and you keep, you know, throwing interdictors at the grid faster than the Titan. They can lock and shoot them, and if the Titans can align and warp or jump to a Sino, they will eventually die. The third way they could have probably tried to, you know, do is to use heavy energy neutralizers, like the Blood Raiders Drain, like Titans. We know that they rely heavily on active modules, specifically capital shield hardeners, armor hardeners, and their massive doomsday weapons. All of those require just vast amount of capacitor, and the tactic would have been to just drop a specialized fleet of maybe Bhaalgorns or Armageddons with heavy energy neutralizers, and when coordinated, these ships can completely drain a Titan capacitor in seconds. And you know, a capped out Titan cannot just fire its Doomsday, cannot turn its massive defensive hardeners, and cannot use the jump drive, and its massive HP pool shrinks drastically, you know, making it vulnerable to dread bombs. And another strategy they could have probably also try, the Gunstorms, is defanging, you know, the anti-fighter warfare. You know, if the super capital wall includes like Supercarriers, like you know, Nixes or Eoses, their primary damages come from swarm of heavy fighters and fighter bombers. And I mean, you just ignore the super capitals themselves and focus entirely on destroying the fighter wings. A tactic like, you know, defanging. You deploy fast tracking destroyers like jackdaws, you know, or just smart bombing battleships to erase the fighters from the grid. You know, once the supercarriers run out of fighter, then it's in launch tube. It's effectively a multi-billion ISK paperweight, and yeah, I mean, countering Team A strategy would have required like a massive amount of cheaper high damage ships threads. While, you know, relying on elite subcapital pilots to control the grid and neutralize the Titans' energy. Yeah, it's not easy to beat Titans, guys. I'm telling you. Hope you guys like this video. It's a lot of me rambling and talking about this massive battle that took into Nullsec. I don't talk much about Nullsec. I talk, you know, when it's a big battle that might influence the markets. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if the mic is better. And I'll see you into the next one. Bye bye.